The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow waterway located between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, and it's considered one of the most strategically important choke points in the world. This 21-mile wide strait is the only sea route from the Persian Gulf to the open ocean, and it's the main artery for the transportation of oil and gas from the Middle East to the rest of the world. In fact, almost one-third of the world's oil and about 20% of its liquefied natural gas, LNG, pass through this narrow waterway every day. The Strait of Hormuz is particularly important for Asian countries like China, Japan, and India, as they heavily rely on oil imports from the Middle East to fuel their economies. The significance of this waterway is not only limited to the energy sector. It also has political and military implications, as the Strait of Hormuz is located near some of the most volatile regions in the world, including Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. This has led to tensions between Iran, which controls a large portion of the strait's coastline, and other regional powers such as Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. Given all these factors, the Strait of Hormuz has become a critical point of interest for world leaders, policymakers, and military strategists. So, in this video, we'll be exploring the reasons why the Strait of Hormuz is so important for the world. History of the Strait of Hormuz. The history of the Strait of Hormuz dates back to ancient times, when it was a vital route for the trade of spices, silk, and other valuable commodities between Europe, Asia, and Africa. During the medieval period, the strait was controlled by various Arab and Persian empires, who used it to extend their influence and protect their territories. In the modern era, the strategic importance of the Strait of Hormuz increased with the discovery of vast oil reserves in the Persian Gulf region. The first oil well in the Gulf was drilled in Bahrain in 1932, and since then, the region has become a major source of global energy. During World War II, the Strait of Hormuz played a crucial role in the transportation of oil from the Gulf to the Allies, and after the war, the United States became a major player in the region. In the 1950s and 1960s, the U.S. built military bases and established alliances with several Gulf states to protect its interests in the region. In the 1970s, the oil embargo by Arab countries against the West led to a significant increase in oil prices, highlighting the importance of the Strait of Hormuz in the global energy market. Since then, the strait has been the focus of various geopolitical tensions, including the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s and the ongoing conflict between the U.S. and Iran. Present-day importance. To this day, the Strait of Hormuz remains a crucial passageway for international trade, connecting the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. The strait is only about 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, but it sees a tremendous amount of traffic. Every day, around 20% of the world's oil supply passes through this narrow waterway, along with significant amounts of liquefied natural gas and other petroleum products. The vast majority of the oil passing through the Strait of Hormuz comes from Middle Eastern countries, particularly Saudi Arabia and Iran. In 2020, Saudi Arabia accounted for nearly 30% of global oil exports, while Iran contributed around 5%. The strait is also a critical shipping route for natural gas from Qatar, the world's largest exporter of liquefied natural gas. But the Strait of Hormuz is not just important for the oil and gas trade. It is also a significant waterway for global shipping. The ports on either side of the strait are vital hubs for international trade, connecting countries in the Middle East with markets in Asia, Europe, and beyond. Countries such as China, India, Japan, and South Korea depend heavily on the oil and gas that flows through the Strait of Hormuz. However, the importance of the Strait of Hormuz extends far beyond just trade and commerce. The strait is also a strategic choke point that has significant implications for global security. Any disruption in the flow of oil through the strait can cause a ripple effect across the global economy, leading to higher prices and supply shortages. The strait has been the site of multiple geopolitical tensions over the years, and the potential for conflict or disruption remains a concern. Challenges and limitations in bypassing the Strait of Hormuz. Despite the importance of the strait, there are limited options to bypass it. Only Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have pipelines that can ship crude oil outside the Persian Gulf, and the total available crude oil pipeline capacity from the two countries combined was estimated at 6.5 million barrels per day at the end of 2018. In that year, 2.7 million barrels per day of crude oil moved through the pipelines, leaving about 3.8 million barrels per day of unused capacity that could have bypassed the strait. Volumes of crude oil, condensate, and petroleum products transiting the Strait of Hormuz have been relatively stable since 2016, when international sanctions on Iran were lifted and Iran's oil production and exports returned to pre-sanctions levels. More than 1/4 of global liquefied natural gas trade also transited the Strait of Hormuz in 2018. The largest source of crude oil and condensate moving through the Strait of Hormuz is Saudi Arabia, with most of it being exported to other countries. In 2018, 76% of the crude oil and condensate that moved through the strait went to Asian markets, with China, India, Japan, South Korea, and Singapore being the largest destinations. In 2018, the United States imported about 1.4 million barrels per day of crude oil and condensate from Persian Gulf countries through the Strait of Hormuz, accounting for about 18% of total U.S. crude oil and condensate imports and 7% of total U.S. petroleum liquids consumption. Despite the availability of alternative routes that can circumvent the Strait of Hormuz, the inability of oil to transit the Chokepoint, even temporarily, can lead to substantial supply delays and higher shipping costs, resulting in higher world energy prices. This highlights the importance of the Strait of Hormuz in global energy security and the need for continued efforts to ensure its stability and security. Chokepoint and congestion. The Strait of Hormuz is a chokepoint, meaning that it's a narrow passage that's crucial for maritime traffic. The narrowest part of the strait is only 21 miles across, and the shipping lane is only 2 miles across at this location. This creates a bottleneck that can cause congestion and delays in shipping. Due to the large volume of ships passing through the strait, any disruptions can have a significant impact on global trade and the price of oil. In addition to shipping congestion, geopolitical tensions in the region have also contributed to the strait's vulnerability. Geopolitical tensions. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital passage for global trade, and as such, it has always been the subject of geopolitical tensions. With more than 20% of the world's oil supply flowing through the strait, any disruption to this trade route can have significant global economic consequences. Several countries, including Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United States, have a vested interest in the stability and security of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has repeatedly threatened to block the strait in response to perceived threats to its national security, while the United States has been vocal about its determination to keep the waterway open to ensure global energy security. The tensions between the two countries have escalated in recent years, leading to increased military presence in the region and occasional skirmishes. In addition to Iran and the United States, other countries in the region, such as Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Oman, also have strategic interests in the Strait of Hormuz. These countries rely heavily on the strait for their oil exports, and any disruption to this trade route can have serious economic consequences. The Strait of Hormuz is a crucial shipping lane that connects the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Sea and the Gulf of Oman. Its strategic importance has led to several countries vying for control and influence in the region, which has raised concerns about the security of the strait and the potential for geopolitical tensions to disrupt global trade. The Strait of Hormuz remains an important topic of discussion for policymakers, analysts, and anyone interested in global trade and security. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more informative content.